Good day, eh?
Howdy.
Okay, we're back. Everyone is here. Thank you for joining again, everyone. Um, Last time we played, you went to Gemery with uh RSN number 2, who made a miniature proxy of herself, carried on a wagon, spoke to the proxy at Gemery for the better part of a few hours. But didn't have the backbone to tell her the full truth of the world as it is right now.
And just to double check, we didn't do much better in telling her either.
You decided not to go for it.
Gotcha. That's what I thought.
Instead, I don't remember who asked, but one of you thought it would be a good idea to ask the proxy for the sigil sequence for the teleport circle.
Lauren did.
Was it Mont?
I thought it was Nimbus, but we could go with Mod too.
It's in the chat.
Oh yeah, so it is.
Oh, definitely was, yeah.
So, having befriended the proxy and informed her that through a series of half-truths that Vesoth was undergoing some kind of aberrant incursion, she thought it was a very good idea to give you the coordinates for the teleportation circle above the throne room in the Veshan Star Tower.
That feels like a boss battle, if any. First, we just need to talk to Remy so that we can get the side quest opening so that we can get the weird ending.
Right.
Well, I think this might have been your side quest, sort of. Or well, the other one.
Oh, holy shit! Is this okay?
This is the weird ending.
So leaving Gemery, with your copy of Arisa, I believe before we left last time, you decided to head back to All Saints, regroup, and make a decision for what you're going to do with that new information you've gained, while leaving the Gemery proxy to her devices, at least for now.
Yeah. I think we told her to prepare in case there was an invasion or something like that.
That's right. She said she would fortify the town a little bit. And you have every reason to believe that within the extent of her abilities as a unaware hive mind, that she will in fact be able to make that ruined town more secure than it is today.
Excellent. I think that brings us up to the moment, right?
I think it does. Let's get you back to All Saints.
Yeah.
Just a day or so walk back, so it takes you hardly any time at all to get back here. I think you'd even be back before the next Redshift starts a day or two later. You'll want to wait it out before your next the next leg of your journey. But you'll have some time to get ready. Now you've returned with the proxied Arisa in your wagon in this fragile battery powered device. So the situation here where have I put my notes?
Yeah, she was to tell Orisa Prime what transpired before being deactivated.
That's right. And Captain Van is actually not here because he and Dex are both off working on those new obelisks that you need.
Brigadier, come down from your chair.
Well, you're back already, and you don't look any worse. I assume that
Maybe.
means things went all right at Gemery.
Oh no, Orisa biffed it.
Well,
Oh,
in some ways,
that's not
it went
fair.
better than all right.
We
Now
have
I'm
learned
doing
important. Yeah, we have learned important information. It didn't go quite as well as we had hoped in some respects, but I think what we learned wasn't important enough to make it a win all around.
Oh no, absolutely no. I was just
No, a
teasing.
teleportation circle going directly in, that's potentially enough to end it.
Yeah, that's my feeling.
Do we have any bombs?
She says, "You said it didn't go well. That sounds like very good information that you've just implied to me."
I mean, yes, but no, but yes. But
It's
also
fantastic information.
No. It's great information. It's absolutely great. I don't.
It's excellent
It's
information that we
inside
did not have to
an
fight for.
unknown entity.
And yeah, I'm personally disappointed that we couldn't break her out of a whatever cycle or malaise it operates under.
Well, that too. I don't know if having the access to inside one of the most weird phenomenon on our planet is exactly, like, what do we do once we get inside there?
That is the question, isn't it?
Stay together, find a way to leave, otherwise we'll leave the way we normally do. In an absolutely emergency situation. Teleportation circle.
Yeah,
We're gonna need a whole lot of those materials, by the way.
Nimbus, just personally between you and me, I'm willing to bet a third of my agency's future fortune that you can't teleport outside of that star tower. Once you go inside, I think we're not coming out via the same magic.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
There's nothing I think I'd be able to wager that I could actually make personal claim to. It's not, like my family's property to try to match a bet like that. But if you let me just take it as a free bet that I can get that, otherwise, get nothing. I'd imagine we will actually be able to teleport out if we can teleport in. If we can't get in, we probably won't get out.
If I've understood the things I've seen the way I think I do, if we end up in a situation where a teleport circle wouldn't get us out, Amber Green can do that music that sends people home when he banishes people, right?
Well, I
But he
mean,
can do that like 4 times.
I mean, that would work with you, and that would work with me, but
well, no. If I banish Montlarn, he's going
home.
He's going home.
yeah, you'd go home. I'd go home. I'd just use the teleportation circle to come back, of course.
I'm assuming the teleportation wouldn't work because that would mean the inside of the Star Tower is somewhere else now. So it wouldn't be anybody's home.
I see. You're considering the tower itself to be extra dimensional.
Right. I mean, assuming that there's something blocking a teleport. I mean, if you could get in but not out, that either means something strange about the space or it's literally a trap, right?
Well, at this point,
That would be the largest
if
red
the
herring.
secretary is still connected to the proxy system, because we haven't completely killed that network, if that's still connected, then the secretary or whatever's left of it in the Star Tower now knows that that teleport info was given to us.
Indeed.
However,
I,
if the proxy network is busted enough that that information cannot be relayed, as it's actually been told to us that she's not able to update the secretary, then we have a chance of actually getting in as a surprise because was unexpected.
We
right.
could also
Problem then is getting the
Or-
hell out of there.
we could also forego the surprise, potentially risk it, and teleport a spying device, a scrying device.
A magically assisted log rage probe. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think to get the spell to work, you would still need a person to be carrying it through.
could we have an autonoma carry it through some lesser gizmo or gadget?
That might work.
I've been really wanting to itch towards clockworks. I think it's the next step in my tinkering.
That would be really interesting research.
It's simple stuff, nothing like those T servers that you might see in the Empire.
Sure, but I mean, with Smitty to teach you some knowledge, I think maybe you could even potentially found a school where you taught those sorts of skills, or where you at least gathered the knowledge and expertise to learn those skills to great degree yourself.
I mean, you could
Oh,
always
yeah.
pack it in a wooden wheel and roll it through. Just push it and let it go.
Likewise, we could try to do what Holtzman did.
Oh, and hold it open.
Yeah, recreate it.
I'm not sure I'm very fond of the idea of having a permanent gate between one of our locations and the inside of the tower.
We'll just pick a spot
I hear
to
that.
open it.
It does feel a little risky.
Maybe like outside of the city or something like that. Just so that if it does turn out to be a bad idea, then the gate that is sustained and opened is right outside the city. Not this city, I mean this.
Maybe we've got some questions for
If
I'm not quite sure who to ask. Maybe Arissa, Nimbus, and a couple.
Yes,
Maybe
there's
the
no
others.
rush to make any snap decisions right now. We have
Well,
time
and we've
to
got to wait for the
discuss
next
all of this.
Redshift. But when a teleport circle is activated, is there some kind of notice on the other side, like incoming? Is there some kind of notice, or do people just kind of show up and walk through the teleport circle and just show up?
So yeah, based on your overall party knowledge of how this stuff works, the way it works is that they're not it doesn't open a two-way portal. It's you draw your circle with a specific destination. You the shimmering portal opens above your circle. You walk through and then you are at the spot as long as it's unobstructed. So there's no indication. I would say you could probably, if you were a particularly thorough or expert wizard, program some kind of you could probably weave some kind of simple alarm type spell into the teleport circle to make it like parts of it will glow when somebody's coming in. But unless you were actively watching the teleport circle to notice this, you wouldn't have any advance notice.
Right. Okay. So under normal or common usage circumstances, it wouldn't activate like a chime or a sound or something
No, yeah,
if you're not
I
looking
think
straight at it.
you would we could say that it is just about guaranteed that there's no such thing as a teleport circle that makes anything any kind of signal other
Okay.
than potentially just a visible thing that happens at the same time that somebody shows up.
Okay. So
So
if I
you're
went
not going to see
through,
anything. You're not going to see anything with a remote signal or an audio signal or anything like that.
okay, so then my second question would be, can Naya wild shape and go through a teleport circle in a wild shape, or does she have to wild shape after going through?
No, you can absolutely do that. I believe the criteria for teleport circles is that any creature just walks through. You have a you have one round after the caster casts the spell to go through. So basically, they finish casting it on their turn, and then everybody else in the initiative has to take their turn to go through the portal. So they have to be close enough to actually make the walk to it, and it has to be a creature. But once you've done that, then you're through.
Okay. So, it might make sense for Naya to wild shape as something small and scout first.
You could do that. You wouldn't have a way back out, but you'd be able to, you know, ascending, right? Or is that not
Yeah, with no way out though, that's not good.
right? Like I said, it's not a two-way portal, and it only lasts for one round.
Right. So we should all go
I'm not
regardless.
I think
seeing sending.
no, yeah, okay, I misremembered. It's not a druid spell then. I think the only two-way portal is gate up at ninth level.
That sounds right.
And that I think is exclusively extra planar. Like I don't think you can rules as written cast gate onto the
Okay,
same
so
plane
then I
as
have
you're
another
already on.
question.
Okay.
Sorry, getting picky.
No, let's hear it.
Can I blink? What's that called?
Misty step?
Yeah, thank you. Misty step to outside of the wall of the star tower and then wild shape into flight?
I think you have to see where you're misty stepping, don't you?
A good question. As
Well,
long as you're able
if I
to.
am looking at the inside of the wall, can I teleport in enough space to be outside of the wall?
So let me double check because I know there's a weird interaction that's supposedly like windows count as obscurement for the sake of spells,
Oh,
but
okay.
depending on the way the Misty Step spell is worded, that might not matter.
Okay.
You teleport to an unoccupied space that you can see.
Right. That you
And that's all it
Right.
says.
And that's a range of self. Yeah, okay. So that wouldn't come into basically like it's like you can't cast fireball on the other side of a window because it has a range of 90 feet or whatever. So you can't cast it even though you can see where you're aiming, you can't cast it through the window because you're actually
Because you can't
casting the
see.
spell.
Okay.
But
right. It'll hit the window and explode, basically.
yeah. But Misty Step is a stealth range, and then you teleport, which has no restrictions on obstructions as long as you can see. Which is why you could also, if you had some combination of seeing through the eyes of a familiar who was in like a different room that was still within 30 feet, you'd still be able to do that, right? So yeah,
Oh,
if
that's
you,
tricky. Okay.
there's things you could do with
But
familiars.
the question
stuff,
still
and,
stands then. We do not know the thickness of the walls of the Star Tower. So I don't know if it's 10 feet thick or 1, you know.
Yeah, as
But if
long
I see
as
point X at this point on the map and it's within this 30-foot range or whatever it is, yeah. And then,
and
Well,
that's
you have to
that's-
literally be able to see it.
you do have to you have to be able to see.
So you can't teleport through a solid wall if you can't see the other side.
okay,
Indeed.
all right.
If you were able to see through a window of some sort, and it was within 30 feet of you, then Misty Step would work. And since it's only a bonus action, um, as long as you were higher than 500 feet up, you would not fall to your death before a wild shaping.
Yeah, okay. Well, if we're going into a teleport circle that is a floor above the throne room, aren't we only on like the 2nd or 3rd floor?
I believe you have been told that the throne room is on the ground level.
Yeah, that's what I thought we were told. Okay, well, never mind then, I guess. I've thought of all the things I can think of for the moment.
Okay. Lucent says, while you're thinking through your plans, you wanted our Arisa proxy to speak to the original. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, we
Okay.
wanted her to give her any information she wanted to convey before the end.
So you'll cart the wagon and the device up to the obelisk, and they'll get to chatting about what basically she's going to give her everything that happened as verbatim as she can.
Like download it?
No, they're just going to talk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're still air gapped.
Um,
Air gap, that's great. 2 points, Montler.
so you can listen into that if you like, but it's just going to be the stuff you already saw. In the meantime, that's gonna take maybe an hour or two to go through everything clearly. Um, she says, by the way, I have Dex and Van working on a obelisk at the edge of the desert. They're expecting to be done with it before the Redshift begins. So we should be hearing from them pretty shortly. After that, I'm going to have Dex come back here, and I'm sending Van out to the edge of the tower, the pit. I'd like him to get started on another obelisk over there if he can.
I want Van to try to disintegrate some of the tower. If he's able to, then that gives us a potential way to get out. If he can't, then at least I know disintegrate won't help us get out.
I'll have him bring Mortier's team along, so in case they run into any trouble, then he won't be alone. But since they all have magic allowing flight, that shouldn't be too much of an issue for them to get down into the pit and make that attempt while they're there. I'll pass it along.
Good. That'll be good to see.
Okay, I have another question.
Sure.
Could I use stone shape on a wall in the star tower and change it to a window?
Let me look something up.
Okay. I'm pulling an Albus Tower. It's my first time doing this.
I'm very proud of him.
I
Yeah,
thought
no,
you
that's
would
good.
be.
You know, I'm surprisingly not seeing many people ask about stone shape to shape metal, but
I mean, it's what stone shape is for, more or less, right?
well, stone is stone, right?
Right, but
Yeah.
specifically stone shape is change this stone into some other kind of stone. And if I want to change a wall into a window or into a door,
it's shaped the stone.
Yeah, it's shape.
into
You can
something.
smoosh it around, which is why I think it would
So
work for a window if the wall was stone.
yeah,
If it's like ivory, you know your host.
so the couple of examples it gives is that you could shape a rock into a weapon or make a small passage through a wall,
Yeah,
right.
So,
as long as the wall is less than 5 feet thick.
right.
If I could make it into a window, which this kind of suggests that I could, then I can see through the window and Misty Step.
If it is stone, then yes, of course you could create a window with that.
Okay, so that's a possible plan. Requires 2 turns. Well, no, 1 turn and a bonus action. Whee!
Well, don't forget the part where you have to wild shape before you fall to your death.
Right, but that would be. Thank you very much.
You get
I
there.
would have to do 2 wild shapes in potentially 5 minutes.
I think you'd figure it out pretty quick.
Yeah. To the conversation that I was having with Montnard, she did ask you to turn her off when she was done with the info transfer.
Yeah, I figure we just unplug the battery so we can recharge them.
Yeah, that's exactly what she asked.
Pretty much.
I know.
Well, they are transferring the information. If there's anything else you want to do in the meantime, now's your chance. But like we said before, you've got plenty of time. You've got a whole week and a half to chill out here in All Saints. So after a bit, you notice that they are the 2 RSOs have traded the information that they needed, and Albus Tower, if you'd like to do the honors, now's your chance.
Oh, I'm talking to Mont, who's the one who made the oath. So, it's his choice on whether he lets me.
He's going to talk to Nimbus about a corpse. Okay.
Well, I'm gonna sneak off with the other Arissa and take it apart until it turns off. I want to figure out how the brain of a proxy works.
Spooky.
Yes.
Especially since they can talk back to you like right up until they can't.
Yeah, right. Is it gonna sing Daisy?
Maybe shitty,
Oh, you're talking about like doing brain surgery on her while she's awake.
Maybe I'm talking about the kind of shit that maybe takes a roll and a fade to black to something cooler.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I'd
you-
fucking fade to black on that.
would you like to ask her permission first?
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Move your token as you desire then.
Hey, so I'll
Good
totally
timing.
turn you
We're just
off.
about done.
Oh, are you now?
The original RSS says, I got the picture. I don't blame me, for not being able to go all the way with the proxy. I think if she's in any way stable right now, that's all right for the moment. Um, maybe if we can solve this Redshift thing, we can, get her back up to speed eventually.
Absolutely. Y'all done some great work here. And I'd like to ask permission for maybe one more task.
Go ahead.
Can I pick apart your brain while turning you off?
Uh,
The second RSS says, um, hmm, uh, I think I get what you're getting at.
I just besides Arissa here, who already says that, they're old and kind of want to pass on, you're like the closest thing to a fuck, what would you call it? Like a journeyman's kit to proxy tech, and you're working. And I've seen plenty of non-working proxy technology, and I still don't exactly get it. I need to see it working and to take it apart, I think, while it's working, in order to have any better opportunity in understanding exactly how to work this. But it would be really shitty to just like perform brain surgery on you while you're awake without your permission. So yeah, I'm gonna ask you the surreal question of, is it okay for me to commit brain surgery on your clone, and you clone, with some independence? Are you consensual to live brain surgery? I mean, I'll be honest,
Sure.
surgery is just a nice term. It's honestly a dissection.
That's
Vivisection if she's alive.
Oh, vivisection.
That's very, very forward of you.
Forward's not the word I would have used, but yeah.
I mean, I would be lying to say that it wasn't for my curiosity, but it's also for the betterment of the new Veshan territories.
I mean, is your intent to put it back together again afterwards?
She doesn't want to be put back together, but I would rather find better means.
I don't seem to feel physical sensation here like this. I mean, when I was in the obelisk, I also didn't. But here I also do not. So, aside from being able to see, hear, and speak, I don't think there would be any visceral harm to me. But you understand that if you shut me down in a more simple way, you could probably reactivate me later if needed. If you are attempting a vivisection, I probably won't be able to be rebuilt.
That's exactly what I was thinking. We may still need to be able to access things remotely like we've done. So if we pull out batteries, that that shouldn't be a problem. And then I suppose we would have Arissa overwrite the remote one again, or make a copy of herself over there again that's more up to date to do whatever the next task is. So that's why I'm hesitant to do something that would not be reversible.
Well, I mean, the whole goal in a journeyman's task is to actually take apart the thing and then put it back together in working order.
Right, but there could be some things that are like, for lack of a better metaphor, wave soldered into place, or a spot welded, and for you to remove them, you'll have to undo that, and that might not be a thing that you just have the tool to fix.
I mean, we made it on site though.
Sure, but they might have used
Sure.
sort of like techniques that we don't have.
Oh, and also materials. Like there's only so much proxy junk.
Right. And
You could undo the conduits between the crystals, but if you dive into the crystals, you would have to break them apart.
That's where most of my understandings that come from, isn't it? No, you can't.
I think
Parts of the back together. That's a good metaphor. What were you saying? I'm sorry.
I wasn't, but I would say this is the sort of thing that, unless we knew well enough what to be able to do to perhaps consolidate the two of them into one much better operating copy.
So the question here is, sorry, the worry here is that we can't recreate the device if I break it down.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. The only reason why I was wondering that is because if we could recreate the device, it would make sense just to recreate another device because she didn't want the clone to still be there in the first place.
Yeah.
But now I understand what you're saying. Because the materials are so rare, I might break it. I guess.
Well, even to take slices of the crystal might do so in a way that means we can never reassemble it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've taken two large intact pieces of different proxy crystals and weaved them together into a much smaller capacity semi-functional proxy. You don't have other proxy crystals. These were the ones that you salvaged from the two that you've killed.
Yeah. I guess it will have to wait then.
That's fine by me. If you'd like to have this conversation another time, then you can talk it out with the other me at some point.
All right.
If if I need to come back, then I'll do that. For now, if you'd like to simply unplug the power,
It's time for a good sleep.
I'll leave the sappy goodbyes to my other self. So, see you.
Time to go quietly into the night.
You unplug it. All the light fades from the artifice.
Ah, well. Surreal, isn't that? I don't know how I'd feel about killing my own clone.
Arsa says, yeah, I think surreal is the right word.
You know, I think if I were to ever clone myself, I would make it so that I would forget that I was the original.
That's dangerous.
No, no, if both of us don't know which is the original, then we just have, Alvis Taver and the idea of Alvis Taver to work on. I think that's far more uniting than like whether or not I'm Alvis Taver Prime or Alvis Taver, 2.
Yeah,
Depends.
it's the prestige.
I don't.
All it takes is one of them to have a differing opinion.
Well, and I mean spoilers for an old Christopher Nolan movie, but it's explicitly said later in the movie that they took turns because they were the same person at the moment of split, and they both knew it.
She says, I only know what that other me told me, and I don't really know if she was just a copy or if she had a soul. I don't know if I have a soul or if I'm just a copy, really.
You're person enough to me.
Get as philosophical about it as you like. I'm not going to think about it too hard.
Well, goes by any other name.
That is how I like to think of it. Anyway, I'll thank you for honoring both of our wishes here, and we'll see if we need to use that device again.
Really wish I could just peek into how that crystalline structure is made. Or at least understood why it worked the way it did so that we could figure out what electro whatever or not is going on there. That could benefit us all.
Well, hey Verde, don't some of us I know some of us have divination style powers, and while divination isn't going to be the one because it's talk to your god and get a cryptic answer, like I'm sure one of us must have something we can use to understand, or if not understand, to ask someone who would.
Have we used it already in the creation of the Parentheses double? Or Arissa's double?
I don't think you guys have used
No, I don't think
very
we did.
much divination when trying to work these things out.
I guess not. I'm looking at my own spells, and maybe not. Like I have scrying, but that, as we said,
Would you like to help me out here, Bard? Give me some inspiration from your goddess. How the fuck this crystal works? If maybe I can find a suitable replacement.
huh? No,
I do have more than one question. What is the mechanism of charge?
I was interested in just in knowing, just knowing, but like, I don't know, true seeing might help me a little bit, but not a lot bit. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I have scrying, but again, that's not exactly going to do it. That lets me look at other people elsewhere in the world. I have true seeing, which means if there's any illusion on it or anything hiding its mechanism, I would see through that.
Ursa says,
Wait,
if you want a
legend lore?
very short answer, the people living in Vessos several millennia ago were very, very smart.
We could throw legend lore on it if one of us wanted to take the time to prepare that.
That's not a bad idea at all.
That doesn't exactly answer what I'm looking for. So if I were to split my questions up into something similar to like split the dead, Arissa, my question would be, what is the mechanism of charge? So in tinkering, I know that a spring or a weighted rope, for instance, that's the most basic one.
They
And
hold
energy, right? So I've seen these batteries. I've seen the collector's house. Obviously, there's some kind of charge going on in this crystal, but I don't know the mechanism behind it. I also would like to know if there are other suitable crystals and or rocks that I know of that could be used in this harvesting of the motive force, as Mont is putting it. I like the motive force is what I'm calling this.
That's also useful. Yeah.
Um, and then the third question is there any refinement method I know of that could be used in the creation of, for lack of a better word, a proxy material?
Maybe some of the busted scraps can be checked out by Soriana and Smitty to see if they can figure out if it was manufactured or refined from some other material, or if it's just a very rare mineral of its own.
Pontus too, maybe?
Yeah,
He
sure.
was in refining things.
I don't think Crystal Tech is any of their wheelhouses.
Oh no, not
No,
crystal
no,
tech.
so-
I'm talking specifically about maybe the material the crystals are made out of. For all I know, it's some sort of magical hard set resin.
Yeah. Like so far, we only know it as a red crystal, but is it an iron crystal? Is it a phlogiston crystal? Perhaps somebody with a stronger understanding of the material sciences in this world might be able to tell us what this crystal is from.
It doesn't float.
Phlogiston would float. Is that what you're telling me? Okay.
Exactly.
Interesting. You don't think it would do that weird thing where it bobs?
No, might. It also might only float if it's a specifically small enough quantity. Like there could be a density issue. I don't know enough about it. I just know that one of its purported properties is that it floats.
Anyway, Serb said we had a week here, right?
A little bit over that, yeah.
Okay, so I have plenty of time to prepare legend lore, even though it's not currently prepared on my sheet, and cast it maybe, like either cast it and then replace it with something else, or cast it as a ritual. I don't have to switch pips and dots around and spend spell slots to cast this, right?
Well, technically you would at the end of your long rest, but if you guys want to take, like, a month to plot and plan and move stuff around and get some obelisks up, like, at the moment.
It even
not-
seemed to me a week is enough to cast a spell and then take a long rest and uncast it, effectively.
That is very fair. Yeah, the week long rest made necessary by the way we use our mechanics gets a little chunky at that point.
They're not exactly 1-to-1, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I figure that's something that could help Alice at least, and I'm interested too. Like, let's all gather around and hear what the tale of the crystal tech is.
Yeah, I think in this case, because you do have such a long week ahead of you. Let's here's a thought. Maybe I can make this a real mechanic later for like limited long rest games. If you take a full day to cast a spell, or maybe a casting time plus 1 hour per spell level or something like that, then you could potentially cast it if it's not prepared, right? Because that would require the dedication of an entire day or a couple days of time potentially.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
stuff like sitting over the crystals and playing pure notes and seeing if any of them do the dark crystal thing where the one glows with the harmony, you know, like, all that kind of stuff.
So
You know the scene I'm talking about, right? I'm not just being an old man.
No, I know.
I mean, I know, but
I realize that when I bring up stuff to people I work with sometimes where I'm like, no, it's like this movie. They look at me like, bro, I'm 26.
But sir, mechanic wise, I absolutely see what you're talking about because that's like one full day to remember the spell, look it up or whatnot, or write it back down.
right, because my whole long rest thing is purely mechanical anyway. So like narratively, like the whole
because you can spam it.
Well, and yeah, that's what I was thinking. If it's an entire week, then what I do is I spend the whatever day and a half to switch from remembering how to do mass cure wounds or raise dead to learning how to do legend lore again. Okay, yeah, I got that. And then I spend a day playing the song, and then we learn our legend lore, and we all have our time. And now it's Tuesday, and then Wednesday I sleep the whole day because boy was Monday and Tuesday hard. And now it's Thursday, and we still have 2 days left for me to.
Yeah. I like the mechanic that Sir was pontificating about though, because it also fills the narrative gap of okay, this guy's doing a study sesh montage in order to get to the point where all right, now we can do legend lore.
Yeah, well, so that's exactly it. You were telling me, you were talking to me about how you wanted to take this thing apart, but maybe that's problematic and all that. And I'm like, well, I mean, maybe I can consult the muses. We can get some more information. We can learn the history of this thing, which is I think what legend lore actually is like learning the histories of or modeling that the bardic knowledge.
May not rely on the gods, but it would be to disrespect them if I didn't accept their servant's opportunity, to help me. Something like that.
Well, all right.
Yeah, so I think we'll do it this way. You'll do basically the full day ritual. We'll call it that for now.
Sounds good.
And perhaps I'll canonize this as a rule in the documentation later.
And so it was upon the 4th month of the 2024th year, upon the 26th day, that Serb said,
That's funny, but I wonder if you are more likely to be damned for making that joke than I am because you've literally listened.
That was very clever.
No, but I feel that cadence. I'm at the point where I'm rapidly becoming the guy who's playing 5e and name. Anyway, yeah, let's do that. So, I think the materials are not a problem. I think you actually have the ivory strips taken from Daymare's box of stuff. Yeah, that was in there.
Oh, yeah.
So you have a legend lore wand.
oh shit, we literally have a wand of legend lore?
It is a wand that is bound with the 4 ivory strips that you require. So it's not a magic item. It's a spell focus that is used as the component for that spell.
Fucking convenient.
And he had a let me just show that to you again just so you can see it. But You'll see legend lore in the first box,
I do.
and legend lore incense in the second box.
I do.
Oh, yeah, I even have that incense in my inventory.
There you go. Okay, so perfect. Yeah, I gave you guys all this stuff for your
You
use.
totally did. That was a while ago.
Um,
Yeah, right here. Shit, dude, I have clairvoyance eye. I have incense portions for divination.
right. Yeah. Okay. So you've got one of your casts of legend.
Augury sticks. I don't even know what. Oh, those are for throwing and reading.
Exactly. Yeah. You need that. I like playing a cleric and then going and finding my augury sticks as my material component.
The bones tell me nothing.
I love the cleric material.
Do you love this, child?
Yes, we've all seen Willow.
So, do you need to? You just need to name the person, place, or object, and then I can tell you about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you guys, do you think I should just do this on Crystal Tech in general, or should I do it on?
It's got to be a specific legendary thing.
Okay, so it should. I guess it should just be the proxies, right? Is that legendary enough?
Or the secretary.
Or the secretary?
Maybe the secretary. Yeah.
All right. Well, then legend and lore on the secretary. I will begin to play, and the magic will course through me.
Okay. I think this is, I think, for Embergreen, probably a situation where he locks himself in a very smoky room during this ritual and
That sounds good.
receives the information in some kind of oracle-like dream.
Right. Yeah. Trancy circumstance. I understand.
That seems most appropriate for him.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think I agree.
Yes, sir.
How heavy is a brass brazier?
Okay. Let me answer that before we get into the info. I didn't specify, but I think that's a pretty big one because the contra elemental brazier is pretty large.
Oh, it's not a small one.
He was summoning whatchacallums, fire dudes. So.
Yeah. Okay, it's actually not that big. I just looked up. It's not the. Oh yeah, no. It's basically the same as the brazier of commanding fire elementals from the DMG, which is only 5 pounds according to the book. So it's actually not that big, I guess.
Also, delete the extra items that were added to your inventory.
Did you all get extra items again?
Yeah, I have a healer's kit again.
That's really cool. Okay.
I would probably want to spend at least a few of the days using available materials to make a bunch of the rare chalks and inks out of precious gems and materials.
Absolutely. You have enough of those from the Dragon Sword that I don't think we're going to run into a situation where you're running out of those unless you start spamming it every 5 minutes.
Well, actually, I did want to do something, get everybody around, every keen-eyed person, and, well, maybe first do it alone with somebody supervising, so if I get sucked in, they at least see it. But creating the teleportation circle to the one above the throne to see if it even opens, and to see what we can actually peer through from our side safely to see. And if it doesn't try to suck me in, then bring every keen-eyed person around to look at every last detail we can through it and see just what we can learn about the inside of that thing without anybody going in. Maybe throw a rock through it or something. 6 seconds is a short window. But
So I've always ruled that the shimmering portal is not a visual window.
false.
I don't know if I've ever said that, but that's how it's always been in my head.
Well, wait a
If
minute.
it's only one way, it wouldn't anyway.
Why did we have the
Nope.
portal work then over by Keep what's it's where the
That's a
where the
fucking
people-
phenomenon.
Yeah, that's something special that Holtzman did. If you're talking
That's
about
not a
going in the basement.
teleportation circle, indeed.
Right.
But so when you cast, so you will be able to determine if the spell works, because obviously if there's no teleportation circle anymore, your spell's just gonna fail. So you can definitely try it, not go through it. You don't have to go through it. And if the shimmering portal appears, then you know, okay, that this sigil sequence is valid, and it'll go somewhere. But you won't be able to see through it because that's not how the at least in this game world, not how the spell works. You are in all cases trusting that whatever is on the other side of that portal that you know about is the way you remember it, basically from when you learned the sequence.
Gotcha. Actually, no, I was interrupted. I didn't get that. Sorry.
Were you?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, so basically, you can absolutely test the circle if the destination circle doesn't exist. The spell will obviously just fail. You'll try to cast it, the thing won't open. Then you'll get that information. The way because it's not specified in the spell text, the way it works in this world is that in all cases for teleportation circle, the spell, when the portal opens, it is more of a magical field that you can see. It is not a doorway that you can look through to the destination.
Gotcha. Okay. Here's another question. How far through does an entity have to be before they can see through to the other side?
You have to go through the portal, and you can't like halfway stick through it. It's a teleport. You go through and you are on the other side, or at the destination.
Okay.
I'd say once more than half of your body is through the shimmering portal, that's when the teleport happens. So if you just stuck your head or your hand through, you're just gonna be in like the silvery like mist plane for a second before the actual teleport
I was
happens.
thinking like a 90s, like a metaball sort of membrane.
Yeah, kind of. That's a good way to think about it. A
All right.
Stargate.
Yeah, so that's not gonna work. Okay. At least just the one to try to see. I think I would.
Yeah, as a rule, like I said a second ago, in pretty much all cases, the way teleport circle works is that the caster is trusting that whatever is on the destination is the way they remember it from the last time they were there.
I see.
It's definitely possible to capture a castle, fill it with traps, and then kidnap people who think that the castle is safe, right? Because they have a teleport circle into it. That's a valid wartime strategy.
Castle Cube. I've heard of this place.
I was once given the opportunity to build a castle in a game that I was playing, and I put the teleportation circle in the castle inside of what was used as an arena. So it's a welcoming place, but it's also, it's an arena used to entertain the guests.
I think.
Nice.
A little kill box.
Let me give Ambergreen this legend lore that he cast.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, please.
I'm going to write notes very carefully.
This is for all of us. I mean, you guys probably want to hear this too.
Oh, wait, are you by yourself in the smoky room? Can I be in there if I'm like utterly quiet? Like, do you need your like mojo to be not fucked with?
No, I'm going to come out of it and tell you the tale.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah. It's going to be a situation where like you're in a trance. I mean, do you want it to be the kind of trance where you're like speaking in tongues the information out loud while it's happening, or do you want to just like be slumped over?
Yeah, I think it's more like a resting, slumped over sort of thing. And then when I come out of it, I'm infused with the tale. I have the tale.
Yeah.
You know, I
Okay.
have a story to tell.
And then you perform it.
Well, yeah.
The performance isn't a fugue state itself. Fugue state.
Let me tell you the tale that you see of the secretary then. There is a city and a shining tower. It was built after she was. No, I'm sorry. It was built before she was born. She grew up under its gleam. A young, sharp, intelligent elf.
Elf, write that down.
Seeing this woman living in her youth, under the tower, you can sort of Ambergreen recognize the horizon line of Vesoth in an earlier day, full of people this time. And she grew up to be so deeply in love with her country that after a career in her younger years of giving herself wholly to the royal family of the time, studying the science and magic of that era, the ability to grow crystal structures was one of the things that the team she led pioneered in that tower. They harvested the components of those crystals, the seeds of those crystals, from the earth and from you understand this as higher planes, not like what Holtzman did, but the divine and the elemental planes.
Sure, I was going to say elemental planes of whatever sort of.
Yeah.
I get you. So they're pure, like platonic crystals of the sort.
They took these seeds and they grew the crystal. She dug deep into the earth and found where the world's blood flowed and connected to it.
Wow.
And while she was still young, before her 400th year, the team of scientists that she had created built a device that would even in the dream, it's hard to describe. She enters the device. There is immense light from within, and the crystal pulses with the same light. She steps out of the device unharmed, unchanged, and starts talking to the crystal.
Okay.
Centuries later, she dies. A normal, peaceful death. The version of her who was put into that crystal is the one from her prime. Her sharpest, most driven, and most in love with her kingdom. She works for millennia in servitude of that place. Over time, the crystal is integrated by additional people, successors to the people who she worked with, people that she trains. It's integrated into the Star Tower, into the magic technology of that tower. They grow additional crystals. Each one is copied in a way that's not too dissimilar to the way you did with Arsa. They yours is a little more makeshift, for sure. But they connect them, they copy them, and then they ship them off to somewhere different where they're needed. This does not happen anywhere close to once a millennium. It's a very rare event when it does happen. That's the extent of what you see in her abbreviated life and beyond,
Huh.
actually. Both of her lives, all of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say both of her lives.
So if I understand it, red crystals, or at least the original red crystals, were grown from seeds
Harvested.
that acted like a base, literally like a tree for like a tree seed or something like that. That then were harvested from.
Yes, they
These
grew them.
seeds.
You saw them being grown in tanks. Not full of liquid, but you assume ambergreen. These tanks were sterile. They had particular components, chemicals pumped into them to make the crystal grow the way that they wanted it to grow, and then it was bound by those golden bands to make the arcana work.
Right. Right.
And then the crystals were powered by something called the life blood of the world.
Well, no, that's where they harvested this. I mean, yes, that was where they went, but they went there for materials. They went there for seeds and things.
They drew up mana from the depths of the earth.
There you go. So okay, yeah. So
Power source.
it was the power source. You're right.
And that the machine that the secretary is made from is built from these crystals, and a copying method was also produced for these crystals that happens rarely. I think, Montlarin, that maybe what we saw in the lava was a failed attempt, but perhaps that's what we saw.
Oh, what an interesting thought.
I think maybe, though, I don't think we have enough time for it, honestly. The tunnels way back by the fort. that those might be, you know, these tunnels that she must have made in order to get deep underground.
Well, most of what you've found deep in the earth has been very far away from where proxies were located. Um, Evergreen, part of what you saw is that this source of mana, it's a continuous draw. They hook up into this font, and
Right.
that's how they're powered for thousands of years.
Okay. Well, there's one of your answers then, Verde. Yeah, is that the power comes from the planet itself, from the roots deep in the firmament.
Yeah, I'm wondering where that infrastructure is. It doesn't seem to be powered by the same ley line technology that we're using.
Well, and I don't know that we can follow the roots, all the way down. I don't know that that's a thing we can do.
Yeah, if we knew where they were, maybe.
Maybe, but they're probably like crystal veins, right?
Maybe. I mean, sometimes crystals grow in caves, right?
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Think that has anything to do with what they were trying to mine for down south? No, that's way later.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels like later.
Which isn't to say that there's nothing there, just it's probably not that.
Yeah.
I did learn a lot though.
What was that? I'm sorry.
I said I did learn a lot though. Honestly, I wish I was here to compare notes with Decus because um, Albus sort of takes out his notes about what he has garnished from Decus's long rants about theory and such about the obelisk. But the obelisk, right, is uh, pure, maybe not as pure as this red crystal here, but it's a the crystalline metal structure, isn't it? Made of like mithril and other valuable shit like that, right?
Um, y- by the time the Redshift has started, Evergreen is doing all this business. You could definitely get in touch with Dex. He'll have finished building the new obelisk to the northeast by now.
Yeah, so I'm very much a layperson, so I'm drawing some comparisons here with what we've kind of figured out about the red crystal technology and how it kind of works. And I feel like perhaps it's maybe a more refined technique on a grander scale.
Are you asking him directly at this point?
I would be, yeah. Like I would be like literally taking out and comparing my notes with the two and my personal like side notes and speculations.
He says
Or
over the over the communication array. He says that's interesting. I suppose it is pretty similar, isn't it? Where well, they serve different purposes, but
they said that the red crystal technology had a myriad use. Yeah, myriad use.
seems to me like the main thing that they used it for was putting this woman's brain into it.
I feel like yes, but also no. I think she is a secretary in the truest sense to the court, and a secretary to the court, if I'm correct, is very much like the librarian of a library. They are the keeper of data.
Well,
They are the steward and the helper.
no,
So-
sometimes the secretary is a C-suite executive. So it depends what secretary means in this context. Not an administrative function, but an executive function.
The librarian does executive functions in a library.
Well, but I'm talking about someone who actually is directing an operation. That
She's
smaller scale could be a librarian or an archive, but at that point it wouldn't be called a librarian, it might be called a curator.
Oh yeah, no, I absolutely understand, especially with the examples that.
I mean, I know that secretary
brings up.
historically means like an administrative assistant,
There-
but in this
there's
case,
still all of those are still subservient to the imperial authority.
but a secretary with a capital S could be the voice of that authority, and therefore the authority, the proxy of the authority.
Right. It could be like a docent at a some
Yes,
No,
absolutely.
I thought that it was stated even in the lore that we got that the secretary serves her country.
That's right.
So she's subservient.
Every king will tell you that they serve, but not all of them are good kings. Some of them are asshole dictators. So there's theory and then there's practice.
Everything our friends have told us so far suggests that the king was the prime ruler in his age.
I feel as if
Surely the kings and queens of Essos used the secretary as their most vital tool. I can't imagine anything.
Well, surely, but
of course.
different.
And likewise, with information comes lots of power. I just think originally thought at least my agency would use the secretary similarly, I think, in the keeping of information of the kingdom. And then expand
the
upon
the invaluable ability of having someone who's immortal.
Exactly. I think the Veshan Empire, at least from what we're looking at, and I think we have a top-down perspective problem going on, but it seems that they most famously use this technology not for defensive purposes or communication purposes like we have co-opted your technology for, but for data consumption and storage.
That's right. Yeah. But we have a similar way of building the structure. The obelisks and the proxies seem like they share a kind of cousin's blood in terms of how they're built, but their intended purposes are very, very different. Because even with Arisa, she's communicating to us through a through a sort of illusion magic that allows the long distance communication. But we don't have anything that can store a person inside an obelisk, nor would I say do the proxies seem like they're designed to anchor the reality around them.
I think the anchoring about no, well, I mean, what is the redshift?
True. Well, it doesn't seem to be coming from the proxies anyway, but it might indeed be anchored to the secretary. We can't rule that out.
Yeah, absolutely. The redshift just seems to be maybe a more aggressive application to our. What does the obelisk cast a blue sheen? I've always imagined it that way, sir.
A little bit.
Maybe the redshift is just an offensive version of your blue shift tickets.
Maybe. From what you've told me, it doesn't seem like that was ever the original intention, but things change. If it did, it doesn't seem like ours that was told about it.
Indeed.
I wonder if there are better materials that we could use in the creation of obelisks now that we at least know this about redshift technology.
Well, I hope we won't need too many more obelisks. But if you're able to salvage any more, uh, proxy technology, I wouldn't be opposed to studying it for that purpose. I
Oh,
would just want to avoid connecting it to the network.
yeah. The idea is less creating more obelisks and more building upon what the obelisks can do. For instance, Daymare was able to wield the redshift at, some command. Wouldn't it have been nice if perhaps we had a chargeable device that could plot a shield for us with your blue shift?
Agreed.
Perhaps
That is.
if we can study more of this material and then apply it to our own, perhaps we can build upon the efficiencies of the Beshan Empire.
If we could find a way to make it mobile, chargeable, deployable somehow, that would be huge for us, especially now that we're so close to the tower.
Do you have any idea about how to maybe grow crystals? Something cheaper, vastly cheaper than, the mithril and other valuable crystals that we've been using.
I know certain chemical behaviors cause crystals to grow if you mix the right things, but I wouldn't claim to know exactly what the proxy crystals are made out of, so it would be a lot of trial and error to get it right unless you were able to find some kind of documentation on it.
It's just literally out of left field. Is mithril maybe one of those minerals that can be crystallized?
I don't think so.
Is there any way we could test it just to be sure? Perhaps it needs a incongruous amount of electricity in comparison to the other materials.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, can you technically crystallize all metals if you have the right
Mithril's magic metal, man, so it's up to you, OOC.
Right, exactly.
I do know that modern like crystals and shit like silicon and like those, that's all metal.
Mithril, depending on the canon you draw it from, is usually found as a crystalline substance.
In Dwarf Fortress, it's found as a crystalline substance
That you have
and it need to spin as a thread.
correct. You need to pull it out.
Make it into coins, because the coins are easily workable versus ingots. And they're not coins as in like coins that you stamp for values, but they do call them like discs or discuses or something like that.
Yeah, crystal.
Yeah, I see the way you're like visualizing that
I'm being a nerd
like a
about.
vinyl record sort of disc.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
That's how I imagined it because they still cast them in
Right.
they still cast them in the workshop in the what the fuck no yeah because you spin them in threads and then you cast them in the forge. Yeah. Sorry, it's been a while since I've actually ever worked with it. I've only done it once.
Yeah, and
Well,
you have to spin them
then
in threads so that it's workable. Otherwise, you can't actually work the metal. It's something that like there's like a phase change built into that game's lore.
we'll say that mithril is crystallizable, um, like uh, like iron, silicon.
Bismuth.
It's
Perhaps
known to come out as a clear silvery sort of like hexagonal crystal, like basalt almost.
perhaps with your permission, Decus, if we could raid a sample or two of your supplies of mithril, Nimbus and I could perhaps tweak around in the creation of mithril crystals for uh, advanced obelisk technology.
Well, they'll make good magical foci for you if you needed them as a conduit. Um, crystals are easy to deploy mana through. They're they're, they're very receptive to it.
Exactly, and we have the batteries, right?
High input, high output. Um, right. Uh, there might be a little bit of spare mithril available that you could work with. Not certainly not enough to get you a full proxy-sized structure, but um, maybe a few spare cube centimeters of it.
Absolutely. No, that might be enough though for.
We are making quite a few obelisks at the moment, so Lucent might get a little upset with you if you raid the stores, but I'm
We
sure you can.
we won't
sort
go
something
over a
out.
pound, maybe two.
Did you say pound?
What? I swear it'll be worthwhile. I mean, look at Keen.
She has a movable jaw now and everything.
Yeah, I sort of channel a little extra energy into the fire crystal I wear, consistently all the time. I really don't know if Keen would turn off if I stopped.
um, she's self-driving with that core magic item, but the glove you have is more like a command interface, right?
Yeah, that's what I always thought.
Yeah.
I wonder if there are other things that I can learn how to do with it. Perhaps, like, since I know that it's a big mana, you know, battery thing that I got going on, maybe this crystal tech might prove worthwhile. Crystallize the redshift miasma. I mean, yeah, but how do?
Well, I mean, I got a way.
This is not like rock crystals, you know. I was gonna
Realize the what?
I was gonna, attach, some conductible wires and ask Nimbus to shock them so that we can grow and crystallize the
Here's
mithril lucent.
here's the thought. Uh,
Mithril. We're crystallizing mithril.
right, using the same process that I used to fix the fairy's foot. What? Putting something into a crystalline form.
Yeah.
The mithril.
No, absolutely. I mean, with both of those crystals, the mithril ones, then I think we might be working with. Sir, what's an equivalent to gas?
Gas?
I think we might be cooking with gas.
Cooking with dragon's breath.
Surely the Empire has tapped into natural gas places. At least one or two people.
I feel like that would have to be happening somewhere. Wizards would be
yeah,
crazy.
If not natural gas, then coal for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
The natural gas is a thing here and there.
It's necessary for a certain level of smelting. Like there's a certain sort of forging you just can't do without that sort of fuel.
So, out of character.
Yeah, a little kid with a bellows can go a long way if he's worried about eating.
Out of character, my thought was an epiphany that would have occurred to Montlarin at this point, as we're talking about how to crystallize crystals. He was thinking about how sugar crystals are made out of sugar water, and how those tanks must be some sort of magic equivalent of sugar water. And so he thought to himself, well, what if it's something like the redshift that they're turning into crystals somehow in those tanks?
Whoa.
And then he thought to himself, well, wait a minute. One of the problems that I've been having is if I take the redshift out of something, where do I put it? What if I don't put it anywhere? What if I make it a crystal?
Right. What if you just make a stone out of it?
Store the energy.
Right.
Is it fuel then? Is it kinetic energy?
Well, maybe that's how these red crystals are made.
Right? Or fuck, oh no, maybe these were brought from somewhere else for their potential, for their in. Maybe this isn't the point at all. Maybe they were brought here for an entirely different reason.
Anyway, since the person leading this conversation clearly doesn't want me to say that out loud, I will just share it with the party, and we can decide what to do with that information.
Right.
No, I'm gonna nod. Yeah, no, we should try both methods of crystallization.
It's a good idea.
Well, that's
Well,
why
a good idea.
that's why I said 2 or 3, pounds.
There's a lot of mithril.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
how does that deception roll against Lucette?
I think she knows better than to believe you when you lie to her face.
This is why I love this woman. Does she give me a look? Do I know, like, is there a look she'll give me if I give her like one of the smoothest lies ever?
She says, okay, so you can. Say you can put your redshift into a crystal. You think that won't start? You get up and start walking around.
I mean, don't you have a little bit of difficulty?
No, I mean if you are putting redshift into a physical object, um, should I remind you of the other thing that you made sentient just to our left there?
Oh, this thing? This thing is not made of redshift. This is made from a dragon, presumably.
Well, I mean, I think she's making a good point for what it's worth.
Keen was already alive.
I don't think.
No, I mean literally, like that. Isn't that part of the whole like deal between a familiar spirit?
Yeah, Keen was a
She's
spirit.
not.
Yeah,
She's not talking about Keen. She's talking about this thing.
right. I was gonna say she's talking about the dragon, or what the dragon became more specifically.
Oh, I mean, technically, that was the power of a curse that was put on our dear friend that then was transferred to a tree via the redshift. Yes, absolutely. You are correct.
She was shifted. No, she was shifted much more strongly than what little bits of whatever you're planning to pull out of the air will be made out of.
Well, yeah, so it's not exactly like we're putting it into anything. It's just going to be condensed into a singular object, like a rock.
I don't think it's worth pretending that's not potentially dangerous, though.
I mean, absolutely. But so is the crystallization of mithril. That could explode.
True.
I'm just
I
saying.
for that one, I'm not a chemist.
I, for one, take the warning as it's intended.
Oh, it's just a warning?
I've given up on trying to stop you from doing time. I just want to make sure you have all of the available information to put in your heads before you make any silly decisions.
I really appreciate that we can be our own people.
Indeed. I actually want to talk to Nimbus about asking some questions of our friend Holtzman's body. I wonder if he didn't understand more about the nature of the redshift at the end than he was able to communicate.
Now, there's a more reasonably prudent idea.
I thought that when I was going through the various things I could do to find out more information. So I was like, well, we can speak with Dead, but haven't we already like grilled the shit out of poor Holtzman?
Well, we
Give him
know
a few
things now
questions.
that we didn't before, like we didn't know about the heavens, for example. Sorry, the heavens.
That's a capital HTU, yes.
Yeah, fair enough.
So yeah, I feel like there's at least 3, 4, maybe even a full 5 questions that we could ask him that we couldn't before because we didn't know to ask them, you know?
If you're going to do it, I'll stand in and watch as well. I'd like to hear what he has to say.
Yeah. You have the questions ready that you want to ask?
Yeah, though I think we can skip my first question because I think we've already got confirmation of what we needed there.
Okay.
So the three I want to ask are: what did Holtzman know of the heavens? How can we disrupt the connection between the secretary and its proxies? What is the nature of the redshift as Holtzman understood it at the end?
Okay.
I do appreciate the Cluedo aspect of this particular D&D game.
Totally.
Well, then I suppose that would probably be where we would start here.
Okay, so you've got 3 questions.
We'd start with those 3 and see how much time we've got left for another 2.
Yeah, because you've got 10 minutes. Okay. Well, if you have any more, you might want to think about them in advance. Otherwise, if you could always ask, follow-up questions if you only have 3 to start.
Yeah. Does anybody else have any specific questions they want to ask? Like Alvis, do you have any questions? Maybe he knows how those crystals are made.
I was going to say we can piggyback on the stuff that I augured in my lore and legends to come up with questions about what I saw with regard to the secretary, or was he a part of that effort? Like, did he show up in there at any point? What does he know of that?
Yeah, he's already said before that he wasn't involved in the creation of that tech, which makes sense. He's too young to have been involved.
Yeah, he's too young. Okay.
Yeah, the woman you saw living her life was about 6,000 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know if Holtzman has any relevant
Well, but does he know of her legend? What does he know about her? Did he piggyback on that? Is he using that tech?
Yeah, he just hang out with her for a minimum of a few months.
Right. But yeah, at a bare minimum, I would like to ask those 3 questions.
you only get 3 questions, right?
You get 5. So
5 questions in a half an hour or something.
5 in 10 minutes, and the spell fails. If the spell can only be cast on the same corpse every 10 days. It's been weeks though since your last one, so you're good there.
Yeah.
If he knows how power to the crystals was maintained or distributed.
Well, conduits through the earth, right?
Shit. Yeah, we know that.
Just a moment.
If there's a way to get them.
All right. Well, why don't we get started on that, and then anybody who has a good question can carefully chime in.
Sounds good.
All right.
Maybe ask Holtzman if he knows if the redshift miasma can be crystallized and how.
No, interesting. That
Yeah,
might be a follow-up for the last question I want to ask there. What do
I
you
agree.
understand about the redshift?
Yeah, does he think that it could be concentrated or stored?
Well, the reason I suggested as a follow-up is because if his answer is not much, then he can't speculate or theorize because he's not actually Holtzman.
No.
It's just his body, right? So it might be a wasted question if he doesn't know anything.
Whatever info was stored in that brain at time of death. All right, let's do it. Cast the spell. And get started.
Nope, that's
I figure this
Nimbus who has
would
that
have
one.
been one of those all-day cast sort of things.
Yeah, that's fine in this situation as well.
Where were the questions written? Do you have them in chat here? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we would start with the first one. What did Holtzman know of the entity called the Heavens?
The corpse creaks into a semblance of life, and ragged words spoken by a body that isn't really breathing come out. And it says nothing.
How can we
Alrighty then.
disconnect the? How can we disrupt the connection between the secretary and its proxies?
The simplest method might be to decouple the main secretary structure from its housing.
Okay. What is the nature of the redshift as Holtzman understood it at the end?
Or I don't know what I did, but I must have done something wrong. I must have broken something.
It doesn't answer the question.
What do you think that you broke?
One more after this.
I broke what keeps our world stable. What gives it structure, law.
Shit, what a thing to think. Sorry, Mom, I broke the world.
Right.
What would you try to do to fix it? Oh, don't mind the sounds out here.
I do not know that it can be fixed, but the only way to know would be to go to its center, which is impossible because it will kill you.
See, I knew there was a death trap going in there.
Oh, well, I will say thank you, but they already are.
And his corpse slumps back onto the pallet.
Good night, my sweet Mechanicus, my scientist, my arcanist. We shall fix your mistake.
Lucent says, well, I'm not terribly surprised that he didn't know all that much.
That he didn't know anything about the heavens is in a way reassuring. It implies that that entity doesn't directly connect with or alter the beings that the redshift changes.
That is true. Something that he wasn't aware of came to be through whatever magic he was building.
The captain of the guard suggested that the heavens was restructuring things as they should be. If I consider what he just said about breaking something that destroyed the order of this world, this area, at least, perhaps that in some way opened the door for something to replace it.
Oh, yes, and don't forget that you were the people who told Holtzman that the Redshift did not subsume the entire planet in your version of the past. So nobody was there to tell him that in the real past.
Right.
You gave him you gave the illusory version of Holtzman that sort of relief that he didn't have otherwise.
Mm.
Remind me again, did my teleportation circle experiment work? Did it actually open the portal?
Oh, okay. Yes. So on another day, other than the Speak with Dead day, during the Redshift, you were able to attempt to cast the teleport circle without any intention to go through it, and obviously you fenced off the area to make sure nobody went through by accident during the one round it was up. But the spell works. The the portal appears as expected. Like I said, there's no way to tell what exactly is on the other side of that portal, but um, based on all laws of magic that you know, uh, you and your allies should be able to step through that portal to its destination, and you can do that.
Now, technically,
You can
that
recast the spell
being
when you choose.
that being the case, that means where it leads is still on this plane, correct?
I think teleport circle can be cross-planar.
I think you have to use the special teleport, the level 7 version for that.
Let me double check. Oh yes, it is on the same plane. Yep.
All right, you don't want to retcon that? We're going forward with this one.
That's correct.
All
That's
right.
not a retcon.
Well then, it is on this plane. It is not its own plane in and of itself, which
Well,
means
that's
we
good.
wouldn't be able to banish ourselves from it at the very least.
Absolutely. Though, even if it is on our plane, that doesn't rule out the potential that it's on other planes at the same time.
Interesting.
That is interesting.
That is true.
Also, I don't like. Let's talk a little bit more mundane here. I don't know what kind of magical defenses that they have. I would just I would like to be sure that we just don't die upon entry, or that like magic is inert for all those who don't have the thingamabob. There was some way we could scry through the portal. Put a little birdie upon a stick.
Scrying doesn't work that way.
Pull it in. Pull it in.
Yeah. Teleport doesn't either. It's not a portal.
No. Yep, exactly.
I can't recall. Amber Green, do you have resistance among your cantrips?
Like what kind of? I don't think I do.
Okay, never mind then.
My cantrips are my cantrips are mending, thaumaturgy, spare the dying, guidance, and blessing of the trickster.
Okay.
Yes,
Hey,
scrying
Lauren,
a
you're gonna need
location.
to hang out with me for a minute here.
What do you need?
Oh, just a little reassurance, I'll say. Just
I gotcha.
hang out and be yourself for a moment.
I gotcha.
All right. So then I would cast contact other plane. It's a ritual. Doesn't really require
Alright,
any.
hit the button and then make the roll.
All right. Let's see. ACC contact other plane. Here it is. And we're gonna do saving throw int. Yeah. Just
They're
needed
both
to
fine.
click it once, but there we go.
Indeed. Yep.
All right. So the first question I would ask, can you see the destination of this circle, which I just recently cast? I would probably hold up the page that has the circle on it.
The answer to that question is no.
Is there anything in the tower northeast of here that would prevent me from teleporting out of it using a teleportation circle?
Not directly.
What would the thing that would do it indirectly be?
It's got to be a kind of yes no sort of question.
They could say yes, no, maybe, never, irrelevant, unclear. So it could, like, if there's like a type of creature, for example, or like a wizard or a trap or something, you could maybe say that.
Um, it'll say active defenses.
Active defenses. Ooh, all right. That'd probably be about my minute at that point.
Ooh, I sure like the sound of active defenses from an advanced
Alright.
ancient society.
Yeah, so active defenses would be the thing keeping us from teleporting out.
Well, we're good at active defenses.
All right. That's actually very reassuring. You're definitely gonna have to bring pretty exceptional forces when we come through, all of us and maybe someone else. But I think I feel a lot more confident about storming the castle and potentially being able to get out if we can't find another way out. Now, I don't see anything in the spell saying I have to wait a week or something before trying to cast it again, right?
That is true.
Okay.
I guess there's nothing stopping you from casting that spell over and over and over and over as a ritual.
Well, shit. I would probably use the second saving throw roll because it's already there. And
No, you gotta roll it again.
Okay.
That was an accidental double click.
That's fair. But that passes with the aura.
Yeah, that's still fine with Montlarin
Okay.
giving you a smack on the ass or whatever it is he does.
Well, I am. Not something an elf would say.
I mean, a particular elf, a very particular elf.
So this one I would be asking, is there a way to enter the tower in the northeast from the outside?
I'm going to take the intended meaning behind your words there and respond not currently.
Okay. Is there a way to open the tower from the outside?
It should be possible.
Would I be opening the outside using a key or a spell or simply destroying it with disintegration?
Significant force.
Significant force. All right. Thank you, whoever you are. Well then, if we don't want to try to teleport, we can always bust in, apparently. Great force. I wonder
Significant.
how significant force. I wonder how literally they mean that. If it needs to be like
I'm gonna guess it's very literal.
force magic, or is it just plain old set up
Yeah, like just literal a shitload of damage.
set up a steel cable, then have Captain Van pull a giant steel ball very, very high and far, straight down. That kind of force. There's this one play we did about this guy who would destroy any opponent with like one kick. And so it's like if we had the true legend of, one kick guy.
One kick, dude.
Yeah,
I've heard this story, I think.
Oh. Huh. Well, book doesn't make them all up.
No, he's just shaven headed, right?
Yeah, he's like a monk or something. He was so
The brigadier
dedicated.
says,
Now I feel old.
we're going to have Van attempt to
Blast it.
attack those the walls of the tower.
Yeah.
She can probably do the next time the redshift is clear. So if you prefer to wait to move on the tower until then, that might be wise.
Oh,
We can
certainly.
get some more
Could-
information.
could- Could we not?
And at the very least, it's really good to know that it is not truly immune and impenetrable, that there is a point at which this very powerful material will yield to force. So, if disintegration itself and all the array of attacks, maybe it's a death ray that it needs, whatever, if all of that isn't able to budge anything off the stone, it's not able to bust a hole through, can't even chip it or crack it, then gonna need a bigger source of force.
Yeah, Lucette, could we not?
I'm not sending him alone. I'm sending him with Mordier's team.
Yeah.
So they're gonna
Yes.
die too?
Nobody's gonna die.
Well, I won't say no.
Well, it's possible.
No, okay. Maybe they won't die. Maybe they'll just pay witness to a beholder being disintegrated by a disintegration ray twice the size of it.
Well,
She can revive
It's like-
pretty
it's
well.
further, but-
Actually, I'm not
where does
too.
that come from?
Are
Like-
beholders aberrations? Doesn't that not work on them?
Yeah, I don't
Table
know.
talk. But table talk disintegrate is a psionic ability, and yeah, they pile it into the beholder, but there's no spell. It's special.
Well, I have the spell disintegration, which I would imagine works similarly to.
At least it was in old rules. In old rules, it was a special case, and it was only psionicists that could do that.
Using the word, you literally saw a building go poof.
No,
What word would you use?
I'm what I'm saying.
Tangent.
What creates that effect, if not a beholder?
Yeah.
Didn't you tell me that you killed the thing that was disintegrating the city?
Got you.
Pacified it.
No, instead, I annihilated it.
Sure. I
It was
confidence of
asking for it, and not in the way that phrase might connote.
No, I know that, but
Aim
it's
to
still
impress like that sort of, interplanar destroyer.
didn't we just have magic intervention tell us that it still has active defenses?
Yes, absolutely. That's why I don't think we should maybe
Send Van.
present a threatening posture to the tower.
Exactly. The tower that has already proven that it had a meddling, maybe not meddling, but a minion that had
If
a
we
minion
have
that
to-
could disintegrate.
Right. If we have to blast a tunnel with disintegration, maybe that's something better to do from the inside out.
Oh yeah.
Have that?
So you're considering that perhaps going in stealthily first is a wise choice.
Right.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
Or well, I mean, now that we have the coordinates, we could, if we had some sort of sending system set up, we can send in the aces. If everything is safe, then we can send in a second wave if it's needed. Otherwise, we can proceed to continue to investigate.
We are the
Can't we have some canary in the mine system before we just jump into this portal though?
we
That's
are
us.
the decrease.
No, I mean like a literal canary.
No, I know.
We have no way to get them back. You'd have to send Keen, and I don't think the distance would allow you to communicate even then.
A way we
No, I think
might try to
one
do
part-
it is start scrying on an object and throw the object through, so the
Scrying doesn't
scrying
work
will
for objects,
follow
it
it.
only works for people.
One person.
Yeah,
Person?
you can only scry a person, or rather a creature, or a location you've seen before.
Oh,
Oh.
you could scry on
Scry the inverted cage on my belt.
Oh, so you're going to send the bird, scry the bird, and then just leave the poor thing there?
No, then we'll pick it up if it's alive. But I mean, it's already a
Oh,
bird.
immediately is what you're saying. So, like right before we go, we send the bird.
We send the
If
bird,
the
and then we
bird passes the test, then we go.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I've already gotten that we're the aces and we're gonna have to fucking go in. I'm just saying, just for safety's sake, can we like, be at least as preparatory as possible? Even minors before re-exploring channels, place, the birds down.
They carried them. They literally carried them with them. But yes, I have linked scrying. Now you know what it does. I can do this.
This is, she says that this is maybe your
This is
least.
my fifth bird, fourth bird.
The real bullshit, though, is I have to sacrifice either Raise Dead or Mass Cure Wounds, because those are the only two things I have in the 5th level that are not domain spells.
Doesn't
The only
Naya
things
know
I have
scrying as
prepared
well?
are super useful.
Maybe she has room for it. Naya.
Ember
Didn't
Green.
I
It's
try
fifth
once
level, right?
before?
Ember Green.
Yeah.
You remember that you aren't limited on like 4 level 1s, 3 level 2s, etc.
That's also
No,
true.
but
Okay.
I have to have it prepared to cast it. So
Or
if
you
I
could
have
do
to,
it as like a day ritual casty sort of thing. We've got some time.
No, if we're
No,
talking
not if
about
we're
you guys
I can
doing
answer
Yeah,
the
the
question.
Oh.
window would be wrong.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
that's
right.
what-
You're right.
I have to choose between Mass Cure Wounds or Greater Restoration. Right now, I have Greater Restoration prepared.
Yeah, right now I have Mass Cure Wounds and Raise Dead prepared, and my domains in 5th level that I always have prepared just cause are Dominate Person and Modify Memory. But I can't undo those. They're domain.
Right, those are domains. Those are
again, you
Well,
can
I
always
can switch to Mass Cure Wounds.
you can always
It's not super expensive either.
No,
You
I
can
have
always-
Mass Cure Wounds and
you can always drop a first level preparation for a 5th level one. We're not playing one D&D.
Right. You can have multiples at
You can
tier
do that.
5.
Shit, I didn't know you could do that. I thought that you were restrained in your prep.
How many you could prepare? No.
I'm old.
No.
Everybody give me a break.
Those
You
are the
only
new-
get-
those
you
are the
only
new
get
shitty
one.
rules for the new virtual
know.
tabletop.
All right, well,
I can go ahead and prepare Mass Cure Wounds, but I only have like 2 spell slots at rank 5.
I'll undo fucking Detect Magic so that we don't have who needs fucking Detect Magic at endgame, and I'll put it on.
You guys have like 3 people who
That's
can
it.
cast Detect Magic.
Yeah, all right. Well,
I do not have it prepared though.
okay, well, Scrying is prepared now. Detect Magic is not. So
Okay.
don't count on me.
I mean, and yeah, to
I
your
also
point, either
always
one of
have Scrying prepared because it's a class spell.
Oh,
you. Oh, for you, it's a domain spell.
That's a circle
Yeah.
spell. You should have
So-
said that first. Evergreen, you don't need to prepare it at all. Go back.
Yeah. Undo button.
Yeah, okay, well, in that case, I should not be using Scrying. You should, because you've got it built right in.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me look at. I need a focus
Still
worth at
costs
least
spell slot,
1,000
though.
gold pieces. Do I always have 1,000 gold pieces worth of something as a focus on me?
You've got one of Omnithopus's eyes.
Do I have it on? I do. Do I have it on me?
Somebody has 2 of those. I don't know who's carrying them right now.
I think Albus. I have a diamond encrusted bracelet. Is that worth it?
So you'll
Oh, I
you'll
also have a
need to-
healer's kit.
You've got
Nerds, why can't I just sacrifice that 1st level prep for a 6th level prep of Word of Recall, and then we don't have to worry about getting out of there at all? Just get close to me and we're done.
you
Can
can
you
do that.
Cast that?
Yeah, I have one 6th level spell, and Word of Recall
Well.
is 6th level.
Well, then there you go.
All right, well,
Okay.
You just
and
have
we don't have to
to
worry about getting out of the tower now. Because
Like I have Lindwalk always prepared, so that's my ace in the hole card.
Embergreen, can you click Word of Recall so we can see the limitation on that?
yeah,
spell?
we're going to set it for here in the middle of where we are right this second.
Yeah, I'm not carrying the dragon eyeball.
All right.
That's a
inappropriate
super
for me.
handy spell.
Location
That's a good hole card, man.
Strongly linked to your deity. Now tell me how you're going to strongly link.
He's creating literally his life epic to this.
Well,
Oh, that's easy. You go back to your blacklight tent and you set
Correct.
the sanctuary there.
No, I was going to say the only times I've ever talked to my deity straight up have been in these camps near these like has been, I think, All Saints, maybe. I'm trying to remember the name of the city that we spent the most time in, but like
This
that
is
is
All Saints, but yeah, the other one was Orvis.
we're
Yep.
in All Saints, right? Isn't this where I actually first like spoke directly to my muse outside of my inspiration?
I don't think so.
It was one of these places. It was one of the places with a
Orvis?
obelisk. It might have been Orvis. It was one of the places with the obelisk, and it was because I sat down and was like, I
Yeah.
played the song of "What the fuck am I here for?"
For the record, I also don't have Omnificus's eyes, so I don't know who's got them, but it ain't me.
Didn't Nimbus have one of them?
I thought it was Alvis. Maybe
Elvis
Nimbus.
also
I don't
said
know.
he didn't have them. Yeah.
Don't rob me from the slam dunk. I was just reading my shit and I went, wait, I have a solution for our problem in my pocket. It's Word of Recall.
Yeah, that's a good hole card, man. I'd be having that one prepped all the time.
Well, no, I never have right up until now, but like, I don't even know what is the most. Maybe I Word of Recall us back to my hillside where my sheep are.
Jesus Christ.
Take it.
No, dude,
Great, dude, I don't hate that.
2 months.
it's literally your blacklight tent. where
You have
cast
10
Lore and
days to
Legend.
2 weeks to create a shrine to your deity.
No,
So
I
make it so.
I think actually Lauren is correct. I think it's the blacklight tent to my deity where I just did Lore and Legend.
That's not a temple. But
I see.
you
Should I build a shrine? Fuck. Is that my calling? Is to build a shrine now?
I mean,
You do
even
have-
nomadic peoples built temporary shrines.
Yeah, you've got
As a Buddhist, I always have a shrine no matter where I am.
resources.
But I mean, herms.
Yeah, I have similar issues in real life, Paul. And in fact, one of my current art callings is I want to go out and build a bunch of like little tiny shrines to my Nyan Cat Meowtep and Sandagon statues, and then put the statues in the little shrines. But maybe that's because I'm an artist and weird. Anyway, so should I build a shrine here? Should I go with what Montlarin said and enshrine? Is that the word?
I have an interesting one too. I just
You could
read for the
certainly-
first time.
Construct a
But it's like a very, very, very specific teleport circle, but it's not a teleport circle exactly.
yeah. Well, you're also currently in a place that is controlled by a powerful spirit.
That's true. That's true. Do I have to talk to that spirit?
She might be able to help.
Be like, friend out. Can we make a hall of melody here? All right, that's what I'm gonna do. How do I do that? How do I go about that? Do I have to scry?
Huh.
It's cool. I have that power.
I heard someone calling for me.
Hello. Yeah. Look, religion isn't really my thing, but apparently, like, it kind of is. I have a calling. You see.
I see.
I need to find a place and set a place, I think, that is like just dedicated to this calling and maybe for the good of everyone. I mean, easily all my friends here, but maybe everyone.
So you're asking me for my cooperation.
Sure, absolutely your cooperation. I wouldn't want to go against you. That sucks. But I mean, like, what do you think about that? Like I don't really know I don't know my muse so well. I mean, I know her, but I don't know her. I don't know if it's a her. Feels like a her.
Tell me about her and why you've chosen her. Or did she choose you? You haven't told me.
No, I think she chose me. I was just a shepherd. I just like music, but then
By
the
the
music.
way, I gave my eye to Naya, so she should have one.
Cool.
Then the music
Continue.
and everything, and I could use my I could use my flute to just direct my sheep, and that was cool. That's magic, right? And the magic came from somewhere. And I've seen her, but only in my head and only at a distance and never for the reals.
Do you think maybe that the reason that you haven't seen her again is because you haven't tried hard enough to bring her here?
Well, maybe. I feel like she came to me when I was just playing, and then was there at the edge of the crowd, and I hoped she'd come closer, but she never really did.
A conversation does go two ways. If you wanted her to come closer, but you never told her, how was she to ever know? You
Well,
would need to
entice.
put something out there for her to notice you, wouldn't you?
A peacock must fly.
I gotta stand out above the crowd, even if I gotta shout out loud. Something like that.
If that's what you want.
Well, it's never been my way, really. But we do need, I think we need to sanctify a place. Maybe just a place for performance where muses such as mine could draw to this place.
A place for music.
Yeah, a place for music and performance and telling stories. We could do that. The people here, I think, would benefit from that, and then we would benefit from that also.
I mean, we do have tours going on. Wouldn't it just be awesome if we could also, have a troubadour or two come along as well, learn some of the songs of Ambergreen and play them for the tours? I mean, it would certainly distract people like, the Lord from last time, and make them less, keen on having, adventures. Their minds might wander.
Well, and all of our refugees here too, we could learn their music and their songs, and that might give us some insight on their plight, their strife, their lives, even. What we could do here for them.
I would like to hear music again. I mean, music. More than your own, or more than Macau's lyre, but out of many people come together. Do you think you could give them that place?
I would love to, and I think that would be great, and just besides my own personal desires or even hopes that it could help us as an adventuring team, I think it would benefit the city itself and the people of it.
I agree.
Hopefully, maybe I
Maybe I
can
can help you out.
Thank you. I heard you, and thanks for that pledge. But I mean, maybe if we build a shrine there, my muse will come and inhabit it, and I will find her there. She'll know I made it for her.
See the girl
Take
in
one of
red
the
dress.
yards, and you'll have my blessing for it as long as you put it near the lake.
Near the lake,
Oh, that would be wonderful. A wonderful concert place by the lake.
by the water. Yep, I agree, 100%. That's beautiful. Let's do it.
Well, we've got
It
time. We
occurs
can
to
do
me
it.
you could do something really awesome with the acoustics. You could just make this flat arching, seat or place where people would seat in columns, right? And then the theater would be this like little circle right next to the lake, and then like all of the acoustics would bounce off of it.
Yeah, the acoustics could be really great, especially in terms of attracting more people to come, because it will bounce off the water.
Like a bowl, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree. I love this. Let's do this.
Okay.
All right, we've got a couple weeks to do it.
Well, I'm also busy
At
this
least.
week.
Well, and we can probably recruit some of the folks here to help.
I gotta make crystals.
Um,
All right, let's cook.
yeah, you have ample time to do this, and this can be a big part of your preparation to make sure that that spell works.
Great.
I assume Evergreen, you'd probably just get started by recruiting a few of just the people around the base and being
Yeah.
like, hey, we got a project to work on.
Yeah, and I mean, I probably even would see if I could bridge the language barrier and talk to some of these lizardy dudes.
Yeah, and Lucent, at a couple, an afternoon into getting started on this shrine in um, one of the yards where some well, it's midwinter now, so not really anything growing, but where some of the children have been doing work previously. Um, she says, "What's this I hear from Eska about a concert hall?" Load.
Yeah, we're gonna build one. We're gonna build a concert hall, a meeting hall where we can perform and share music and stories and histories, and perhaps yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
Should be an open air space.
Not that I
I
exactly have a
agree.
problem with it, but what's gotten you so motivated?
Well, it's kind of a twofold thing. On the one hand, uh, I was thinking that I'm really not in touch with my muse or the source of my power or my inspiration, and maybe this is a way I could get closer to that. But in another, we're about to do some adventuring, and I'd love to have a place dedicated to my own sort of energies and self that I could recall us to with the right song, magically, so to speak.
Let's see.
So it's
Well, don't let it get in
pragmatic.
your way.
But if
If it makes Eska happy, then
yeah, we had a conversation about it, and Eska voiced a desire to hear music again, and I mean, I like that idea.
Tell them about how it could distract the tourists.
Or we could learn their music. We could give them an hour on the stage, and then now I will know some of their songs too. And isn't that wonderful?
well, I don't
Well,
know
it's
how
only
you will be
wonderful
getting
if it's
tourists
good.
here on the front line, but
Even the
especially
two live crew has something to offer the state of Florida.
the children and the fairies are also excited to help you with this test.
Stoked. Yeah, let's do it.
The children are running around hauling one brick at a time. The fairies will ferry you fabric and lightweight ropes and things that you might need.
Yeah, we're gonna add a whole place here. It's gonna be a destination.
What are the contents of the shrine? Because that's happening first.
Hmm. Perhaps. Wait, did I replace my instrument, or did I just? No, I had one made of mithril, right?
I'm not sure. I don't remember. But you've got your usual flute and that pan flute, don't you?
I did, yeah. But I think I remember when we were all getting some amount of, I think it was mithril. I was like, no, make mine a flute.
Mantine.
Adamantine. It was adamantine.
It was an adamantine flute. I recall that. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Well, I'm going to keep my adamantine flute, and I will put my old original flute in a hollow. What do you call? There's a name for that. I think it starts with an S. I don't remember. But I'll put, yeah, and at the very, very back of the hollow of the band shell, because we're going to do a performance space, there should be a space wherein you can put that, and I'll put it in there in like a little sepulcher. It's a sepulcher. Where there can be a couple candles maybe, and oh yeah, I like a vent. Like a vent so that the candles anyway need to go out that way anyway. But yeah, and then maybe put a mirror in the back so it can reflect the crowd.
Yeah, you may come up with even some ideas, things that might amplify the sound.
Well, I figured you put it at the back of the bell of the band shell in
Right.
its own hollow.
Which way is the shell facing? Toward the lake or away from the lake?
Ooh, interesting. So like most of the ones that you see, it's away from the lake, so that when you are sitting as a viewer, you can see the person making the music, which washes up over you, but then you can look past them and see the water.
Right, but if you turn it the other way, flip it around, so that the shell faces, the musicians face the lake, the sound should bounce,
Out of the shell.
carry
Yeah.
across the lake.
Yeah, I think
And with Eska's blessing, that could really do something in terms of energizing your shrine, which is the real purpose here.
Nope, I think you're right, and Lauren agrees, so that Eska can hear it. And
Yes.
yeah, I agree with this. Yes, we should build the shell facing outward, and the shrine on the inside of the shell.
Excellent.
Yeah,
I think I would have
Yeah,
a place, if you're going to keep your original flute in there, and that's dedicated to your muse as the heart of the shrine, I think I might actually create a holder or ask Smitty to make one or something. Even just a simple wooden holder to hold up the flute and then put it behind glass or something so that it's protected.
I'm serious, man. I'm serious. You should like design some kind of holy fire, right? That's tended to by theater goers or something, so that anybody can play there.
Well, so what I was thinking is that there would be a way to get in from the back end, from the back face of the shell, where you could walk through and either witness from the back, not just to hear the music or whatever, but also give offerings at the kind of just at a place for offerings, and yeah. Paul's right. Perhaps that shrine should be protected from the people walking past so they can see it but not touch it. And yeah, there could be some holy flames in there, and then some places for offerings.
Yeah, and maybe a little carved like a note saying this is dedicated to my muse, da 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 da.
Well, yeah,
and that's all behind glass, so that people can look at it and understand it, but not touch it or desecrate it, because it is a shrine.
Right, and you could, yes, and you could also make observations during a concert and not interrupt the concert, which is why I think that's important.
Yeah.
And then if there's nothing scheduled, it would just be like Red Rocks in real life, which
right, exactly.
very much I think a natural shrine in a lot of ways. But like, if there's no concert going on and I have a guitar, I can go sit on the Red Rock stage and play my guitar and actually just sing and perform there. It's a public space.
That's right, but that's also why, because it is, I don't know, it wouldn't surprise me if there wasn't some kind of ley line configuration there.
Yeah, right.
But that's where they actually do have the Easter sunrise services
Yep. No,
every year, and they've been doing it for like 40 years or something. So
fucking
shrines have that kind of energy where they naturally magnetize people to come.
totally agree.
So
Yep.
yeah, we just create it, we set it up, we don't have to worry about consecration or purifying or any of that stuff, but
Well,
just energize it with what it's about, which is the music and enjoyment and inspiration.
Eska's a legit goddess who's just gonna just do it for us. The consecration happens, right?
It does. You don't have to be all
Um,
churchy about it.
Right.
What's the first song that you play on the stage once you have a circle?
Yeah. Such a cool question.
Which tale
Right.
are you playing?
See, I feel like I should open it with improvisation. Like an improvisational piece that's just going to be like, the themes I've been working on over and over, because I have so many themes I've been working on over these years, or about.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to like just do an improvisational piece where I kind of just thread these together one after the other to just kind of tell the story of where we've been and where we up until where we are. I think that's most important, like most magical. And then also, I know a song from my dreams that the muse gave to me, and I think that would be the next one that I played, and I would introduce it as such that people understood that it had some spiritual meaning. And then after that, I could just kind of go into like a free form where I do like a song about fucking that one time. Let me think. I can do a song about the horse, about Clark, right? Or a song about the giant copper snake, or
You dip into like preview motifs for your grand epic.
right. That's what I'm saying. These little pieces I've done, and then in there I could do the song of is it Vest?
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
Right.
Honestly, I think I'm not an artist, but maybe that piece should be a recurring element within the whole thing. I forgot what recurring elements in a song is
A
called.
motif.
Yeah,
Like a
motif.
motif.
Yeah, exactly.
Motif, right. And so that's kind of what I'm. Yeah. So I just kind of piece it together and like let myself be inspired. And then as Montlarn suggests, I end on a note of like the ascendancy of our reclaimed land, and just sort of a hopeful riff, that comes into this ballad and then kind of twinkles away into the end.
Give me a 7 performance.
Oh shit, here we go.
Nice.
I was gonna say nat 18 ain't bad, but the +5 don't hurt either.
Yeah.
I swear I am a bard, you guys. Come on.
He is a bard. When you're done and you go and check up on Esther at the shoreline, who was listening, just out of view of where you've put this yard together. She's leaning up on the road, which is a couple feet up off the water line. She says that was very good. Do you think it worked?
I hope so. I only can, follow my heart.
I thought I saw a hot babe in a red dress for a second there, but I can't be certain.
think if she was listening, then she probably heard you.
I hope so. Thank you for your inspiration and also for your permission to try this.
And her blessing.
Yeah, definitely. I guess I should go to the shrine, and invite other people to perform, and then go to the shrine while they're doing so.
Yeah, I would go to the shrine by yourself and do your little communion thinking contemplation thing or prayer.
Yeah, if that's what you want to call it.
All right. So do you have to cast the spell for it to be set in the spot?
Seemed like it did from the text I saw earlier.
Yeah, I would have to look at the text again. Let me see. You and up to 5 willing creatures within 5 feet of you instantly teleport to a previously designated sanctuary.
You
You and
designate a sanctuary by casting the spell within a location. Okay. Second paragraph.
But
oh shit, yeah. And if you cast the
spell
spell without first preparing a sanctuary, the spell has no effect.
Well, you've done what you can. I mean, you had a willing and an open heart, and you set your intent and the purpose for it, and you've energized it, and now it's like, now you try it to see if it works.
Well, yeah, I'll cast one time. I'll cast, and then I'll have to do a long rest before I get my.
Right.
Yeah, you guys will have to get a second long rest before you go all the way in the tower, so you'll have to wait out the next redshift anyway.
Right. So right now, I guess that's what I'll do is I'll do my initial word of recall cast, and that's kind of like the proof of does it work.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have to, go to commune with the shrine and then walk away to see if you actually teleport back.
Okay. All right, then that's what we do.
As best as you can fathom, you think the spell works. You think the spell works here now.
Sick. That's dope.
That is pretty dope. Yep.
I will eventually rejoin my friends and tell them what's going on.
Okay. So the next part of your plan will require you to be fully rested. I assume you'd like to be fully rested. Because how many 6th level slots do you have?
Exactly 1.
Okay, so you can't use that spell again. Yeah, you can't use that spell to escape until you rest again. So, very well. Then let's tell you what happens while you're waiting out the next redshift. Dex will actually be coming back to All Saints. He is going to be oh no, that was a picture, not a token. I accidentally shared that with everyone.
Oh, hey, buddy.
I just meant to
Looking
drop
good.
this token on the page.
Big fella.
So he makes it back with a small crew. They have finished setting up the obelisk at the edge of the desert. So there is a small camp being built and fortified there. They're building it on the desert side so as not to bother the guardians. But there's considerations and plans for a proper bridge, maybe. They're still working out this stuff, but the obelisk there is all set. Captain Van and Mortier's team are going to the edge of Vess, where they're getting ready to put up an obelisk of their own. This is a more potentially abandonable location if need be. The paranoid beholder's plan is to put it up and then head back to Kita's Keep before the redshift hits them. And as long as nothing bad happens to it, they'll make sure they only work out there, at least for now, when the redshift is not active. But they're going to try to start getting the infrastructure in place to maybe get that balloon situation happening. Meanwhile, Dex will be spending the week here preparing for additional work because he's got an obelisk to put down near the edge of the ice field and up near that fog hill location, which have been sort of a long time coming. And these plans are in action while you guys are getting ready to make your move.
So the best we're gonna get is like a pat on the back.
In terms of help, um,
I mean, we got the mithril.
yeah,
Yeah.
he can give you a little bit of guidance on concocting the strong acids that you need to make the reaction happen. But it is a lot of setting it up and then waiting around. Elvis Taver, why don't you give me a 20? Let's call it a medicine check.
Medicine check.
Yeah. I think that's a good one for chemistry. There should be a chemistry skill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder
Okay.
why there isn't an alchemy skill.
Because it's based on using a tool.
It's
The
a tool
alchemy
proficiency.
kit
Got
item.
it.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Doesn't mean it's right.
Medicine is a wisdom roll, right?
I think so, yeah.
Am I getting help from Mont with this?
I mean, I did say I would help you participate in this process.
Yeah, because
Okay.
we gotta crystal up some redshift too.
Well, first we'll do the mithril, I suppose. So go ahead and roll with advantage.
Nice, because my medicine sucks. I mean, what's your medicine, Mont?
Mine is actually super impressive. In fact, if I look, it is an amazingly round +0. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm better than you. Okay.
Run.
8 with advantage. Yeah. I'm gonna keep healing because
Yeah, you managed to smoke out the room that you're in. You probably want to open up the windows and maybe wear a face mask while you clean up the acids that you've combined. You didn't ruin the mithril, but you have
Because it's mithril.
yeah. It did not help you successfully grow a crystal.
Well, that's unfortunate.
It made some very pretty smoke though.
Right, don't breathe that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Like hop off the stool immediately. Go to the window, get it open.
Exactly.
Whoops.
Okay, so I think, want to try a very small scale experiment in this idea that I have here. I have my sword that has a tiny bit of redshift in it already.
Okay.
So in theory, I've sort of already accomplished the first step of providing a conduit for the redshift to coalesce into.
That says that's true.
So what I think I want to try to do is force it to coalesce as a crystalline edge on the blade instead of inside the metal. Just razor thin. Do you see what I mean?
I do.
I figure if it goes wrong, in the worst case, we have an animated weapon we have to deal with.
Make sure you don't
Well,
get all the edges and you only get the blade.
Oh, that would be unfortunate.
like you might put your eye out, but as long as we're careful. I'm curious to see where this will go, so I'll be ready with the defensive magic.
I wonder.
If you'd like
I
to give it
wonder
a
if
try.
Soriana could help me out.
Yeah, if maybe she knows some other way to crystallize a metal. I mean, metals are
metals
kind
are
of made of crystals anyway, right?
No, more like deal with the acid.
I mean,
Oh,
I
I
would
see.
think Smithy'd be the person you could ask about crystallizing metal because welding and all of those things that have to do with
Right.
making metal are actually ways of crystallizing.
Right. Tempering steel is a way to
Yeah,
crystallize it,
right.
for example.
All those
Right.
words that I don't really know. But yeah, that's actually, I was thinking of a weld. You know, the way a weld looks, it actually
Right.
is crystallizing a substance, you know, some kind of a, what's that stuff called? Flux with
Right.
a metal and heat. So Smitty could give you good info. And then in terms of chemistry, I could see Soriana being a benefit because it's a combination of both.
Right.
She's more plant stuff, but
That's my 2 cents.
she's an herbalist, but she can help you neutralize the problem you've created.
Yeah.
Which is a good step.
Yeah. Come on, give me a 22 persuasion. No advantage.
Alrighty. I can pull that off.
Good luck.
Halfway
Not
there.
that time, though.
No. You hold out your sword in your right arm, and you point it out in front of you, aiming at nothing in particular, just empty space. Thinking crystallize, crystallize, crystallize. The You do generate a crystal, in fact, out of the blade. A 6-inch long crystal dagger bursts from the tip of the blade, and then slurps directly back into the blade, with such force that it nearly dislocates your shoulder.
Damn.
Yeah. Well, that's
Neat.
not nothing.
It's not nothing. This is good scientific experimentation. This is good.
Nick says that stopped in the blade, right? It's still in there.
I'm pretty sure.
We
Presumably,
didn't
we
take it
can
out?
see the stars on it.
Right, it's not in my hand.
Yeah. That one looked pretty angry.
Yeah, almost like it didn't like that proposition much.
It's like there's a
Well, just how sentient is it?
bit of inertia to it, right? Like it didn't want to be changed from its current state.
Right, exactly. And in fact, it snapped back with more energy than I thought I put into it.
It's an interesting behavior. It's akin to what happened with a lot of the unicorn horn samples we used. The when they interface with the redshift and aren't fully under one's control, they tend to burst
Well,
violently, don't they?
yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Also, it was Malnarin that used the unicorn horn and shattered the wall, right?
I help.
Right, but we experimented with the fragments a fair amount before that as well.
Right, that's how we practiced.
Wonder if you need one of those batteries to help as a power source to give you more boost.
Well, that
Or
might
it'll
just
rip
make
your
it even
hand
more
off.
powerful. Yeah.
I'll
Right.
try that.
But I wonder if there isn't some sort of apparatus uh, that could operate on the principles that we've demonstrated in some way. I don't know enough about how any of this works yet, but interesting. There's more to control than I think maybe even Demeyer understood.
He said in his journal you have to want the same thing it wants, didn't he?
He did.
I remember that also.
So maybe we're just not in the right situation for it, right?
Or asking the right things. Or in the right way.
Context, right?
Can I
I still think
Can-
some of that is in the eye of the wielder.
no,
I think
can
it's
I
first though making new matter, isn't it? We haven't seen that
I-
before.
I like Nimbus's idea. I'd be willing to experiment if we could figure out how to attach a battery to the sword.
Preferably without it going through me.
No, absolutely. No, but I mean I kind of want to give a crack at this whole Redshift command thing. I was there. I helped. My arm is constantly scarred and I take medicine in order to help me take rolls. I mean, think clearly.
I helped.
I did help.
Nobody did. Yeah.
Oh, I know. I just thought it was funny. Like, hey, I helped.
From your experience, like in that you have used battery powered things to do a little bit of redshifting before, the main thing that you'd expect to happen from that would be that it would follow your intention but stronger. It could amplify whatever you're putting into it.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm thinking instead of something so demanding as like turn into a crystalline structure, I could ask if it could help precipitate this energy into a stored structure. Instead of asking it to do something directly, like something so grand is turning something into different matter, right? And instead, it's like taking this material that I have got.
Okay, Mont, are you willing to give up your sword for an afternoon?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'll hang out too. Like I'll help him out.
Okay. Albus Tever, are you going to make the attempt to guide the Redshift?
Yeah.
You can rig up a thing that'll let you hook a battery onto the sword.
Yeah, absolutely.
Basically, an enclosure for the battery that connects to the hilt, essentially metal to metal.
Yeah. And could I persuade it?
You can persuade it with a 22.
That's high, but it's better than the +0.
Yeah.
This is a normal roll, right?
It's a normal roll. This is you doing it.
Oh well.
Yeah, a little bit better though.
Yeah, right. I tried.
And you want to do the same thing, right? You want to get the crystal.
No. I'm asking in a different way. Like he might have asked. I don't know Montlaurent's thought process, but if it was something akin to form this into a crystal, I'm thinking more like, can you turn this energy, or sorry, can you turn this energy into a precipitate of some sort?
Okay. This time, it the sword turns into a fan of crystal rather than a dagger. It becomes very heavy for just a moment. And then all of it similarly returns. But the casing holding the battery uh, is flung from the sword. Before you can catch it, the battery clatters along the ground. And what do you do while the battery shakes violently and smokes?
I catch it. I had it.
What do you do?
I cast Mage Hand and I pick it up and fly it up as fast as it can go.
Up.
And away.
You'll only be able to get 30 feet.
Can I throw it?
You can throw it, for example, like down an alleyway or toward
Into the lake.
some crates.
Can I catapult
no,
it with
Do you have
30
the catapult spell?
No. Can I catapult it with 30 feet worth of Mage Hand momentum and 10 pounds of force?
Where?
With the Mage Hand.
No, which
Yeah.
direction is what he's asking.
Yeah, where are you sending it?
Uninhabited part of the city?
You would have been
Other
doing
side of
this.
the fallen tree.
You would have been doing this in a relatively uninhabited part of the city already, right? So even less inhabited, basically.
Yeah.
Make a dexterity. I'll let you use a saving throw for this one of 18.
Oh, fuck.
Damn, still too short.
You attempt to fling the battery around a corner of one of the buildings, to where there's nobody there and it's out of sight of you. But the battery explodes before it crosses the threshold, and you, Montlaurent, and Dex all take 12 piercing damage.
Ouch.
That's not an attack, is it?
No.
Okay.
No, you've been peppered by fragments of this battery, and it fucking hurts. And you're probably going to need to see Soriana to get her to pick those shards out of your skin.
Awesome.
Nice.
I'm gonna need a poultice.
So, Mont, I think it works better with the battery.
That certainly seems to have a stronger effect.
I mean, I asked in a softer way.
Spicy pillow.
X says,
Yeah, right.
"Are these infected? Are we going to die?"
No, I wonder, Dex, if perhaps we can actually get these, if we can get these mithril crystals built, we could put it in some way in the battery or in between the connection of whatever we're putting into the battery.
Yes,
So maybe we'll avoid the whole battery exploding thing.
Well, like
they
some
do,
sort of
like I
overflow.
said, they do handle magic quite well. But
Heard an explosion. What the hell happened? You guys look like shit.
Because I haven't said
These kids are playing cherry bombs out here.
it's just a little science. I'm okay.
Uh,
I swear, I think some of it's in my eye, Mod.
I advise caution. I mean, not that Dex wouldn't be cautious, but I advise
actually,
caution.
Nimbus, maybe you could get all of those little crystal shards that have scattered all over the road that way, and collect them in a water ball or something.
Wait, crystal shards? What kind of crystal is this?
The batteries?
Is it though? Or was it shifted? Let's just let me have my silver lining, maybe.
Well, yes. You can pull those out of your flesh and see that they've been turned red.
Oh,
Isn't that just
Bring
blood?
the crystals on the ground.
Details.
Gonna
Isn't
pop
that
'em
just
up
blood?
with a magic spell.
What?
Yeah.
but I think we might have did it.
Here's a ball.
Yeah, I'll throw. By the way, I'll throw some lay on hands around.
Okay.
So
Maybe help get
No.
the shards out faster.
No, don't do that. That'll close the flesh around the shard.
I
I don't think that's how that works.
You think it pushes it out?
kind of gathered
Yeah.
them up in a pile here and then just took the water away. So there. Did you want to look through the scraps, or you just didn't want them scattered everywhere?
Yeah, it would be bad if somebody, ran over them barefoot or something.
Okay.
You could put them in a basket, in the lab. I think that would be best.
Well, like I said, they're in a pile here, and then I took the water away. So,
Thank you.
yeah, maybe get someone to
We're
bucket and a
headed.
shovel.
We're headed to the infirmary.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like it.
I mean, please do take that pile of stuff and maybe.
Okay, fine.
Okay,
You know what? Here. I'm gonna make a little ice block all around it. I'll give it some nice big handles. You guys can carry it somewhere. I gotta get back to
I don't
making
want it.
scrolls. I realized it takes too long to sit around and cast detect magic when I should just have a bunch of scrolls of it. That's what
fair.
I've been
Oh, that's
working
good.
on.
Good thinking. Yeah.
And I'm gonna get back to that while you guys deal with your science.
Well, I think that science is probably where we leave the session because that's nearly everything that had to be done before you continue on your quest, I think.
Yeah, that
That's
sounds
it.
about right to me.
So next time, if all is still according to plan, we can try out that. Well, you guys need another long rest. once you're healed up. You can swap out all your spells as needed, and then we can try out that teleport plan of yours.
Yeah.
Right?
Recall.
Well, recall is our way out, and we can
Yeah, that's
also.
right.
We're also still doing the scry on the bird, right?
Right.
By
That should be
night.
viable.
So do I click long rest now or next time?
You can click it now, and then I'll give you guys how many days of downtime you have next time we play.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Thanks for the session, man.
Yes.
Good
Thank
stuff.
you, everyone.
Absolutely fun
Thanks,
shit
sir.
happened.
Boom. Thanks, man.
Tower next week.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
All right.
No.
There.
Thank you.
Good night,
Bye.
East Coast.
Yep. Night,
Good
everybody.
night.
Good night out there, everybody.